everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be talking about We Were Liars by Lockhart. This book has been getting so much buzz, and if you've read the description for this, you're probably thinking, what is this book about, and why are people talking about it? And I am not going to tell you what this book is about, because I feel like if you know even like the slightest thing about the plot, the impact of the book won't be the same. So I'm not going to tell you what it's about, and it's really difficult to talk about this book without getting into the spoilers, so I'm sorry to say that this book review will be filled with spoilers. However, I will say a few things before getting into the spoilers that I want people to know about this book. I really dig this design on the inside. It's really cute, and I really like the spine. It's so metallic. This is my second Lockhart book. I read The Boyfriend List when I was in middle school, and I wasn't the biggest fan. It's really hard to grasp the fact that these books were written by the same author because they're so incredibly different. I mean, they're both written very intelligently, but The Boyfriend List is definitely lighthearted and witty, and this book is just intense. We Were Liars is this whirlwind of mystery and intrigue and suspense. And if I could tell you one thing about this book or give you one piece of advice, it would be do not spoil yourself. Do not spoil yourself for this book. Sometimes I like spoiling myself, and I will admit that once you start this book, you will harbor this incredible urge to just skip to the back of the book and indulge yourself and unravel the mystery right then and there. But don't do that. Please don't do that. If there was one book that you should not be spoiled for, it would be this one. Or Allegiant. Not that the ending of those two books are in any way similar, like that's not what I'm getting at. It's just that don't spoil yourself. Please don't spoil yourself. I'm begging you. This book is just crazy and intense and emotional, and once you start it, you won't be able to put it down until you know how it ends. I feel like everyone's favorite part of this book is the writing, because the writing is definitely noteworthy. It's remarkable. Lockhart's writing in We Were Liars is kind of like the literary version of Impressionist music. It's just really blurry and dreamlike, like the words carry a dreamlike quality, and it's also kind of detached, so it's like you're reading through a fog. And so the atmosphere of all of that was just really well executed, and I thought it suited the tone of the novel so well. The writing is gorgeous and entrancing, and it really sucks you in. I don't know why, but this book, like the setting, gave me a Gatsby feel, and if you ask me why, I wouldn't be able to explain myself, but it just did for some reason. We Were Liars is so unique and incredibly written, and you probably won't ever forget it. The ending is so mind-boggling and insane, you will flip back to the first page and wonder how the heck you missed it. This book makes your heart race, and it'll leave you breathless, and you might feel like you have this huge ton just weighing you down, but I would definitely recommend reading it. It's so special. And now I'm going to go into the spoilers, so if you haven't read We Were Liars, I need you to leave. I need you to leave. Are you gone? You better be gone. Okay, so if you're still watching, I'm hoping that you've read We Were Liars, and if you haven't, I will hunt you down. Just kidding. I'll just be really mad at you, and I won't ever forgive you. Reaction to the end of the book, just for a few seconds. What the heck? What? What did I just read? How do I function? This book is insane! I thought in the very beginning, for the first like 30 pages or so, I was really confused because there were so many characters and I didn't really know who they were, so I was constantly flipping back to the front, to the family tree. But once you get into this book, you're completely invested in it. So right off the bat, you know that Cadence is an unreliable narrator. So you kind of question everything that's going on, at least I did, and actually, I'm not gonna lie, a really big part of me thought, or I guess in this case knew, that Gat was dead. A really big part of me thought that Gat was dead. But I never would have imagined. How could you even ever guess? I was actually really sure that Gat was dead, and then for Summer 17, when she came back to the island and the liars were all there, so he's not dead? But then also, because she's an unreliable narrator, I was always questioning things. I was like, is this real or is it just a hallucination? Are these conversations actually taking place? Are these characters really there? You're always second guessing everything that goes on. I was like 80% sure that Gat was dead. And then when we get to the scene, the memory that Cadence gets of one of the aunts, I can't remember who, one of the aunts crying wearing Johnny's windbreaker, I was thinking, okay, maybe Johnny's dead too. And when I was thinking that Johnny was dead, I was also thinking about in the beginning how Cadence was talking about how none of the liars were responding to her emails. And I was like, okay, maybe they're not responding for whatever reason, but maybe they're not responding because they're not alive. Wow, just saying that, I have goosebumps, oh my god. I was toying with the possibility of Johnny being dead as well, and I left that possibility open, but it slowly dwindled over time as I kept on reading. I was like, he's probably alive, right? Like, Gat's probably dead, but Johnny too? And all three, oh my god. And then when Cadence started remembering the fire, I was like, okay, this is the traumatic experience. It's the fire, but what could have possibly happened? And I was thinking, someone died. Someone died in the fire. But I didn't think it was Gat, and I didn't think it was Johnny, and I would have never guessed that it was all three. And then, of course, when she freaks out about the dogs being killed in the fire, I was like, that's not it either. Killing dogs is really, really sad, but it definitely wouldn't have caused such a traumatic experience. I don't deal well with suspense and mystery, and so reading this book was really, really difficult because I just wanted to skip to the end, but I had to hold myself back. I knew that the ending would be worthwhile, which it definitely was. How is it that a book so short could possibly damage me this much? Like, oh, it hit me like a wrecking ball. And after we found out the truth, I thought that the book would end in suicide, but it didn't. So that was good, because I don't know how I would have dealt with that. It was so depressing. And once you find out the truth and you realize that the liars were just all hallucinations to help her remember, it was so crazy. And did you cry? Because I cried. I started crying when she went back to talk to them, and then they were leaving and she had to say her final goodbyes. Can you even imagine? Because I can't imagine the grief of having 3 teenagers die in that fire and then have one just who killed. I clearly am not ready to be in front of the camera because I can't form any sentences, but do you feel me? Do you get what I'm saying? Because this is just insane. Okay, let's talk about characters. I can talk about characters, right? I can do that. Okay, so I wasn't really ever sure whether I liked Cadence or not. I wasn't sure if I liked her or if I was just sympathetic toward her because of her situation. But she was interesting nonetheless. After all, she is a Sinclair, so she has that aura of intrigue and mystery surrounding her, and I completely fell for it. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know what was going on. Mirren, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but YOLO, she was really bubbly, and I liked her, and Johnny was just kind of there. He was immature, and I didn't really have like a special connection to him. And then there was Gat, who at first I really liked, but then I didn't like, because he was really pretentious, and he was really, really self-righteous. And it's like, it's great, I'm so glad that you are so aware of what's going on in the world and the injustice that you witness, but you don't have to act so pretentious all the freaking time, you know? When he told Cadence, you don't know how lucky you are, I was so pissed. I was like, stop. How could you possibly say that to her? I mean, yes, she is extremely privileged, more privileged than the majority of the population, but she still has suffered through this really traumatic experience. But now, looking back on it, now that I know the ending, I don't know. Maybe that comment was warranted. I don't know. The whole Sinclair family was so complex and really, really well written. It's this huge, tangled web of lies and jealousy and betrayal and inheritance, mainly. And all the characters are so damaged, and they're pretending to be things that they're not, and they're constantly having to mask their true emotions or the fact that maybe they're not normal, and it's insane, and it's so oppressive, and it gets to you as a reader. The atmosphere just was really tangible. Like, E. Lockhart did such a good job with making it. And the grandfather was so manipulative and so power hungry and crazy. It was ridiculous. And then, of course, the younger cousins, like the Littles, they were really annoying. I thought Liberty and Bonnie were so annoying, I wanted to, like, smack them. And the Liars, which, by the way, I'm not really sure why they call themselves the Liars. Maybe it's because they do have to mask themselves all the time and they always have to wear a perfect facade not showing any kind of crack. But if that's the case, they would be more suited to be called the Pretenders, but maybe that doesn't have the same haunting ring to it. But anyway, the Liars were a really interesting cast of characters, and they were all really intriguing, and I've used that word like a billion times in this review, that and mysterious, but that's the whole book. I still can't get over that all three of them died. I mean, Gat I wasn't that surprised by, and Johnny was like a little bit more hinted at, but all three, that is insane. Hey, I'm constantly repeating that I knew about Gat, or that I had a really good feeling that Gat had been killed, but I'm not saying that this book was predictable in any way, not at all. It's just that E. Lockhart did a really great job of kind of dropping hints between the pages, and if you're extremely perceptive, then maybe you could have pieced it together on your own. And did you? Did you guess the ending? Because I would never have possibly guessed it. There was also a part of me that thought that maybe it was some kind of attack that Cadence suffered through, like when Mirren was like, what do you think happened? And she's like, I don't know, maybe I was raped, or maybe I was attacked, or some other godforsaken thing. I also had that possibility open in my mind. I actually thought that it had a lot to do with Gat. I thought Gat had done something to her, or that they had got into a really big fight and something terrible had happened afterwards, but that didn't end up happening. It's just there are so many possibilities and so many paths that the mystery could have taken, and the one that it did take was just mind-blowing. I don't really have much to say now that I'm thinking about it, other than that was so crazy and twisted, and I really wouldn't have guessed it, and it makes me really, really sad. Like, this book is so dark and intense, and it's not like the contemporaries I usually read where everything is so light and fluffy and you laugh and smile. No, this one makes you think, and it makes you feel maybe uncomfortable at times because of how dark and emotional these things get. I feel like that's part of this book's charm. That's what makes it really remarkable, is that it delves into some crazy territory. Once you figure out the ending, you just want to go back and reread it to catch all the clues that you missed the first time around. I still can't get over like the mental images that are conjured in my mind when I think about those three teenagers burning in that house, and then the aftermath of this broken family having 3 lives taken so quickly, and having one survive, but that one being the one responsible for all of it, and having that blame and that burden, having that pushed onto her so severely that it causes her to forget these huge chunks of that one summer. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm thinking too hard about this, but it really makes my mind whirl and my heart twist, and this book is just really, really crazy and emotional and intense. Intense. I am so impressed with E. Lockhart's writing and the way she crafted the plot to show little hints that show through, letting the reader guess things, but then completely throwing them for a loop by the end of the novel. The thing about mysteries is that if you know how it's going to end, it's just not very exciting. But because the ending is so twisting and shocking and surprising, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up to E. Lockhart, because she did a fantastic job writing this book. This book definitely takes you on a crazy, crazy roller coaster ride. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. It's not even a proper review, it's just kind of like a reaction. But oh well, if you've read We Were Liars, which you have since you are watching this, and if you haven't, I should stop making empty threats. I don't have anything to say except for you suck. Definitely leave me a comment telling me what you thought, telling me what your theories were while you were reading, whether you guessed the ending. And if you guessed the ending, like, congrats. Congrats to you. This is me clapping, but I'm just smacking this book. So yeah, definitely leave me your thoughts on We Were Liars, because I definitely think this book is so worth reading. It's really incredible, and I don't think it's ever one you would forget reading. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and happy reading. Goodbye.